Hey, what's up guys? Luke Prophet. So this video is about Bitcoin, what it is, and why it's useful. Now, right off the bat, a lot of people think, oh, Bitcoin, that's confusing computer money, something like that. Well, I am trying to convince you with this video why Bitcoin is cool and sort of explain what it is, but not only the technical details of what it is, but why it is useful. So if you're just looking for like the details of how it works and stuff like that, it's pretty simple to figure that out, and maybe I'll do a separate video on that. But this one is more about why it is useful and what problem it's solving and why you should be excited about it. So, I'm not going to start off talking about Bitcoin. I'm going to start off talking about our current financial system. So, if you don't know it, we use money and stuff like that, and Bitcoin is way better. So let's just watch this video really quick, and it's going to sort of explain how this works. Okay, how the Federal Reserve works in the U.S.
Let's say the United States needs money.
Side note, this channel I think is a little bit conspiratorial, so I will cut it off before it completely finishes, but this was the best explanation of this that I could find, and this is all like totally legit. You can go look it up and stuff.
Instead of issuing their own United States notes backed by their own credit, they issue treasury bonds. They then sell these bonds to the Federal Reserve, which buys them with money they created out of thin air. The money that the Fed created then goes to the U.S. The U.S. then pays interest on the money that the Fed lent to the Treasury. So to clarify, the Fed creates money from nothing, loans that money to the U.S., and then charges interest on that money. What this means is that there is never and will never be enough money in circulation or in existence to pay back that debt. We as a country, as well as private citizens, are forever enslaved by debt with no way of ever paying it off. Now, when the Federal Reserve buys bonds on Wall Street, the major financial firms that have been selected as dealers deposit the proceeds at their own banks. Fed rules require banks to keep 10% of their deposits in reserves, but the bank is free to issue loans equal to the remaining 90%. Let's say the Federal Reserve buys a $1,000 bond. After putting away 10% into their reserves, they are then able to loan out 90%, or $900. Since the original $1,000 is still on deposit, the $900 in loan proceeds is more new money, money created out of nothing. A total of $1,900 of new money is now available in the economy. Now the person
That might be like startling at first, but it's true. Continue watching.
that took the $900 loan spends that money. The payee then deposits the $900 into their bank account, and once again, reserves and deposits increase. This process goes on until that original $1,000 bond, which was created from nothing, becomes $10,000, making this one full-fledged debt machine while also devaluing the dollar. The more money that is out in the economy, the more the value decreases. There's no wonder that since the implementation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, the dollar has lost over 95% of its value. The US dollar will eventually be destroyed due to an...
Okay, so yeah, that's basically how the Federal Reserve works in a really short little explanation. They print money out of nothing and then pay it out, and then interest, needs to go back to them for the money that they made. So, there is less money, there's more money in the system than physically even exists. So there's no possible way to ever pay off all the debt, because the second the system was created, it was in debt, and since then, it's just continued to go more and more and more and more in debt because it just keeps going. So, but fractional reserve banking is when, if you say one dude walks in with $1,000 and gives it to the bank, right? The bank has to keep $100 on deposit because they have to keep 10% of that, right? And then the $900 they can come loan to somebody else. So they, one dude walks up, gives them $1,000, right? Another dude comes in and takes out a loan for $900, right? So the dude that put in the $1,000, now his $1,000 didn't disappear. Now the cash physically did, but in his account it's still going to say $1,000, right? Still it says $1,000 in his account, but the other person that loaned $900, that's brand new money because they're going to have to pay that to the bank. So they owe the bank $900. The bank physically has $100. They physically have the $900, and the dude with the $1,000 on deposit still has his $1,000 showing up in his account, you know? So $1,900 of money there. So yeah, I mean, this problem just gets worse and worse and worse over time. That's why when my dad was a kid, he was able to buy a donut for a nickel, and now it's a little bit more than $1. You know, so money just continues to be worth less and less and less over time, and it speeds up as time goes on as well. And Robert Kiyosaki, who is the author of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you heard it, it's an old book, but honestly, it's one of the most helpful books that I've read, I think. I couldn't find the quote from him. I know I've seen it before in a video, but he basically says, it's pretty funny the way he says it, and I'm going to butcher it here, but he says basically, the funny thing about the Federal Reserve Bank is that it's not federal, it's not a bank, and there are no reserves. So it's just kind of little funny thing there. And then this is something that I found him sort of talking about this. It's just a short little clip here, but he's sort of talking about how you don't... it's not about saving money and stuff like buying gold and things like that are not because they're going to increase in value. They're because we know that the dollar is going to decrease in value, sort of more or less. Here's just a little clip from that.
But gold and silver is not an investment. Gold and silver.
Sorry, I've got it on super speed there. There we go. So he said, gold and silver is not an investment.
Silver is just an insurance policy against a corrupt financial system. So I'd rather have gold and silver than savings. And the average person has no savings. So if they have no savings, how do they get gold and silver? You know, that is a quandary we're in.
Anyway, so he's talked a lot about this, and it's pretty interesting if you want to look it up. But enter Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is it does not have that kind of problem because nobody is printing more Bitcoin. It's a system. It's all code. You know, you can look at it and see how it's working. There's no little secret, thing where we can just boom create new Bitcoin out of thin air. There's they are on a set release schedule, so I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but I think it's like 21 million Bitcoin that exist and will ever exist, and they are on like a set release schedule that every 4 years like cuts in half. But yeah, so let's watch this little video that sort of explains what it is. Now, one other thing that I want to mention, people think that Bitcoin is confusing, but it's not. So when email was a brand new thing, the techie people were stoked and they were all excited and they were, talking about all the details. And it's really funny if you go back, I don't have it pulled up here, but if you go back and look at the early adopters of email and how they're talking about all the technical details about, this stuff and how it works, it sounds super complicated. But you and I know that email is not complicated. It's, you type in your password and then you see the messages that people sent, right? That's what email is. If you want to get more technical about all the details of how it works, you can if you're a nerd, but I am a nerd, so I go into all the details of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, it works just the same way that Venmo works, something like that. You can scan a QR code and say I want to send this much money to this person, hit send, and done. So that's how it actually works. So this goes into a little bit of the details, I believe, but it's not too technical to just sort of explain it.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency. Bitcoins are digital coins you can send through the internet. Compared to other alternatives, Bitcoins have a number of advantages. Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net, without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower. You can use them in every country. Your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. Let's look at how it works. Several currency exchanges exist where you can buy and sell Bitcoins for dollars, euros, and more. Your Bitcoins are kept in your digital wallet on your computer or mobile device. Sending Bitcoins is as simple as sending an email, and you can purchase anything with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin network is secured by individuals called miners. Miners are rewarded Bitcoin.
This is not really needed. This just talks about Bitcoin mining, which I find interesting. It does not affect anybody who's really using Bitcoin, but this is an interesting little point, so I guess I'll play this. This is how because if you're trying to send money, how does that money actually get from your wallet to the other person's wallet without any kind of middleman that's making sure everything's legit and stuff. So this is what miners do.
Miners are rewarded Bitcoins for verifying transactions. After transactions are verified, they are recorded in a transparent public ledger.
So this is, the Bitcoin address. It looks like a long string of gibberish, right? So it's even longer than this. It's a long string of gibberish, but if you're just using it, all you need to do is scan a QR code, so you don't have to like manually type it in or anything. But essentially, this is just showing what a Bitcoin thing would look like. So it's in this what we're seeing here is it's saying this person, the person with this wallet address sent this much money to this wallet address. This wallet sent this much. This wallet sent this much money to this wallet. This wallet sent this much money to this wallet, etc., etc.
Bitcoin lets people exchange.
Oh, and this was another video that I went into because I guess it goes into something different. I did a talk. Like a year and a half ago or something, I did a talk, and I only had 10 minutes to explain Bitcoin, so I grabbed these videos, and I was using clips from them, trying to jam it into a really small thing to explain this, but since this is a YouTube video, I can go a little bit longer.
Money electronically as easily as sending an email or text. To send money, you use what's called a wallet app to type in an amount, enter or scan a recipient's account number, and hit send. The recipient will then see the money pop up in their account. So how does this work? At a basic level, Bitcoin is just a ledger with account numbers and balances. When Bob sends Carol 5 Bitcoins, his balance goes down by 5 and Carol's up by 5. There's no gold or government-issued money backing these numbers, just people's belief that the numbers are worth something, and a system that prevents unfair changes. Part of the system makes sure no one can spend money from someone else's account. Every time you hit send, your wallet app sends a message to the Bitcoin network describing how the ledger should change, including the sender's and recipient's account numbers and amount to transfer. So what's to prevent a thief from creating a message transferring money from someone else's account? Bitcoin requires a kind of signature on each message to prove that it was created by the true account owner. The signature serves the same purpose as a handwritten signature on a paper check, but it's based on math rather than handwriting. These signatures keep unauthorized transactions from changing the ledger, but who exactly is checking the signatures and overall maintaining the ledger? Surprisingly, anyone who wants to. One of the main goals of Bitcoin is to provide a decentralized system, meaning no single company or government can control it. Every time someone sends money, a transaction message is passed around to all the people who want to help maintain the ledger, who all call maintainers. Each maintainer keeps a personal copy of the ledger and updates it whenever they receive a new transaction with a valid signature. In summary, Bitcoin is an electronic currency that's based on a collaboratively maintained ledger. People transfer money by sending messages to maintainers describing where and how much money should move. Maintainers make sure that the messages are from the true account owners by checking digital signatures. And finally, the maintainers reach consensus with each other through a math-based voting process. I hope this gives you a quick sense for how Bitcoin works.
Yep, so that is basically how Bitcoin works, and it's, that's an explanation that I think should be pretty simple for anybody to understand. So just like email, if you want to, with email, you want to send a message, you sign in, well, make an account, then you sign in, type the message, make sure it's going to the right person, hit send, right? And then with Bitcoin, you scan the person's address, you type in the amount you want to send, and you hit send. That's it. It's just super, super, super simple. The harder part is getting a hold of Bitcoin, and it's really not too hard. It's just more annoying than you'd want it to be, and a lot of that is due to how bad, like, credit cards and things like that are just with... Bitcoin is like secure and a way that you can send money without having issues or middlemen that, can cause problems or, all sorts of things. So there are some difficulties in buying it. It's not too hard. You can usually do it with the bank account or, any of that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's sort of why Bitcoin's cool. It's like, cash is continually going down in value. The money in your bank account is continually going down in value. But Bitcoin, since there is a set amount, and, granted, it is coming out for the next, 100 years or something, the more Bitcoin will be coming out, but most of it is already out, and, it's the amount that comes out is decreasing and decreasing and then eventually stops. So, since there's a set amount of Bitcoin and they're not just printing tons more all the time, it's not decreasing in value, It is very speculative right now because there are a lot of people that think it's going to be huge, and, we don't know quite how huge it's going to be. So long term, I think that Bitcoin is a great investment. I'm not a financial advisor. All investments have risk, blah, blah, blah. I've got a disclaimer in the description of this video that says all the other stuff. But yeah, Bitcoin is very cool. If you want to buy some, I would definitely say that that is probably a good idea. I think that in the next 10 years or so, it's going to be really, really big. So two types of investing you can do. One, which is like long-term holding, where you just buy and then promise yourself that regardless of what happens if the price, if it goes down and it becomes worth literally nothing, or if it goes up a ton, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to hold on to it until a certain amount of time has gone by, and then you can do it. So that's one time if you're going to do like long-term investing like that, then I think probably pretty much whenever is a safe time to buy, because in general it seems to be going up and doing pretty dang well. Or if you're doing more of a short-term kind of thing, I'm doing kind of a mix of both. If you're doing a short-term kind of thing, then you want to try to buy on the lows. So let's look at the 5-year oh, that's right. This is new, so we don't have most of this data. Let me see. Coin market cap. Here we go. Here we go. So this is what Bitcoin has done in the history of ever, and I guess, there was some more before here, but CoinMarketCap was not tracking it, so it was worth very little. I got into it right around $900, so right around, I think it was like right around May or something. Yeah, somewhere around here I got into Bitcoin. Then it went up to $1,500, and I said, wow, and I sold my third of a Bitcoin, and then it went all the way up here, and I was like, dang it. But yeah, so then, sort of held 6,000 all last year, crashed to 3,000 in 2019, like January. And so I picked up a lot more then, and then bam, it's picked right back up. It's now worth around 12,000. I think yesterday it was 13,000. It moves around. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are like stocks on steroids. So they move around a whole lot, and yeah, definitely a good investment. The easiest way to buy Bitcoin, assuming you are in the U.S., I know there are other ways to do it if you're not in the U.S., but if you are in the U.S., go to Coinbase. I'll put a link in the description to that. It makes it super easy because you can just link your bank account to it, and then you can just tell how much you want it to buy, and it'll go through. And I think you have to hold it in your wallet for like 10 days before you're allowed to send it somewhere, but that's just because Coinbase is taking a risk by letting you buy from them, that you're not going to try to reverse it and, that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, that is how you buy Bitcoin. Links in the description to that. I think there's also, I don't remember what the deal is. They've got some sort of affiliate program that I'll link up down there. If you sign up, I think it's like you get if you buy $100 or more, then you get $25 free or something like that worth. I'm not exactly sure what their promo is, but they'll have a link right down there to that. And yeah, hopefully that's cool. Let me know if you want to see more cryptocurrency content like this. I'm probably going to be making more regardless. But yeah, this is why you should be excited about Bitcoin, because it completely solves the problem that the Federal Reserve and everything is creating. So, as it becomes more and more popular, we might be able to, prevent another giant crash like the Great Depression, but way worse, from happening, which initially when I found out about the Federal Reserve and, what that was going to lead to, I was like, frick, there is no way to solve this. And then I found out about Bitcoin. So good things every day, right? All right, guys, talk to you later.